At the moment, I just want to waste my life in Crimson Desert, but I can't because I have a real life and, a job. And the problem with games like Crimson Desert are that they take a lot of time. And from the reviews we already got, it says that you need at least 20 hours to make it fun. How is somebody supposed to put 20 hours into a game without knowing if it's good or not? And then let's say you play the 20 hours, and at the 20-hour mark you realize that it isn't even that fun. So in the end, it doesn't really make sense for you to start Crimson Desert if you have a job, a real life, friends, family. Because when you want to evaluate, if you want to play this game, you have to evaluate it against other games. And it could be that Crimson Desert is better than other games because it has so much content, and it's the perfect game to lose yourself in such a game, and forget about real life and your responsibilities. For that, I believe it's a perfect game. And I just only watch reviews, so I don't really know, but uh, that's what you initially do, right? You watch reviews, and then you decide if you want to play a game. And when the reviews tell you that there's an initial 20-hour investment you have to make, then it puts Crimson Desert pretty low in the tier list of games you want to play, because you have to decide between a game that takes 20 hours to pick up pace and another game that maybe is fun from the beginning. And also you have to take into account when you have a job, like most of us people, then it drains your energy, right? And you cannot afford to put in 20 hours where maybe the game is not really fun. So you want something that you are enjoying directly, and not something that gets going after 20 hours. But what I believe is that you still miss out, because in the end this game is like Skyrim, right? It's a big world, a lot of mechanics, and you can really get immersed into such games. And it's a different kind of type of game in comparison with games that have a uh, directly are fun and don't have a lot of future, and it's a controlled experience. But with these kind of open world games, we have a lot of future, a lot of features, a lot of world building. Those are mostly the games you can really forget real life, and just be brain dead and think you don't have a real life, and just play the game. So the only option you have for playing Crimson Desert is to play it on weekends, where you have a lot of time in one sitting. The problem with that is that so much happens in such games that the next time let's say you wait a week, the next time you play it, you already forgot what you have done the last time, and what information was given to you. I currently play Baldur's Gate, and I have that problem at the moment. But with Baldur's Gate, you already know that's an amazing game. It is. There's no other opinion. With Baldur's Gate, okay, I will play a great game. But with Crimson Desert, because it's not high tier, you have to evaluate, okay, is it worth putting 20 hours in to just figure out if I like this game? And with Baldur's Gate, you don't have that. With Baldur's Gate, okay, this experience was awesome no matter what. So the problem we gotta solve here is, how can you figure out if Crimson Desert is worth it, or you're missing out on something? We know that it's on the limit of mid-tier to high tier probably. But exactly those games make it hard for somebody who has a real life and a work to decide if they want to play it or not. So the question is, how do you figure out with those kind of games on that level, that are between mid and high tier games, that have a lot of content and a lot of hours, how do you figure out for those games if you should put in that initial investment of 20 hours? That's a question that's haunting me like 2 weeks already. And the only solution I have come up with is to watch somebody that plays this game, and maybe watch like 3 hours after the initial 20-hour mark. So you go on to Let's Play, and you watch like episode 50 or something, and you watch 2 hours of it, and then you decide if you want to play this game. That's at least, I know Skyrim came out like 10 years ago or something, but that's how I remember I decided if I wanted to play Skyrim. Okay, at that time I was pretty young and had all the time in the world, and I could just waste my life thinking I was the Dragonborn, okay? But nowadays you can use that technique you did when you were younger and you watch a lot of Let's Plays. You can actually use them for these low or mid to high tier games that have a lot of content and take some time to get going to decide if you want to play them or not. I think that's the best strategy you can use there to decide if you want to play Crimson Desert or games like Crimson Desert. So let me summarize the problem again. So you have a life, you have friends, maybe you have a girlfriend, probably not. but let's say you're a gamer with a real life and you have a job. How do you decide if you play these mid to high tier games? The solution is to watch let's plays and watch the later episodes and watch them for like 1 or 2 hours. And if you get exciting about the game, you just try it out. I feel like that's the best strategy. If you can help me with this problem, then please tell me in the comments. I don't know how to better solve this than decide like this. But the actual experience will, I think, still be worse because I feel like Crimson Desert is a game where you have to get lost in it. You have to play it on 8 hours in one sitting and then be consistent to really get the experience of how the world works and everything. Yeah,